in the city of Chicago. It was a cold, dark night. A blizzard was setting in, and a little boy was selling newspapers up on the corner. Why, people were rushing by, trying to hurry home so they could be in their warm homes out of the cold. It was so cold that he wasn't selling very many papers. So he walked up to a policeman and he said, "Mister, you wouldn't know where a poor boy could find a place to sleep tonight, would you? You see, I sleep in a box up there and down the alley, and sure is cold there of a night." Well, that policeman looked down at that little boy and he said, "You go down there to that big old white house and you knock on that door. And when somebody comes to the door, you just say John 3:16 and they'll let you in." Well, he did. He walked up the steps and he knocked on that door. Pretty soon a lady came to the door. He looked up at her and he said John 3:16. She said, "Well, come on in, son." She took him and set him in a big old split bottom rocker in front of a great big old fireplace, and then she went off. And as he sat there, he thought, my, oh my, John 3:16. I sure don't understand it, but it sure does make a cold boy warm. Well, she came back in and she said, "Are you hungry?" He said, "Well, just a little. You see, I haven't eaten in a couple of days, and I guess I could stand a bite of food." Well, she took him down to a big old table full of food. And as he sat there and he ate till he couldn't stand anymore, he thought, my, oh my, John 3:16. I sure don't understand it, but it sure does make a hungry boy full. Well, she came back in and took him upstairs to the bathroom, to a great big tub of warm water. And as he sat there and he soaked, and he thought, my, oh my, John 3:16. I sure don't understand it, but it sure does make a dirty boy clean. Well, you see, I haven't had a bath, I guess, well, in all my life, except when we stand in front of a fire hydrant and they'd flush them out. Well, she came back in and she took and tucked him into a big old feathered bed. She pulled the covers up around his neck and kissed him good night and turned out the lights. And as he laid there with that snow pouring down, and it was oh so cold outside, he thought, my, oh my, John 3:16. I sure don't understand it, but it sure does make a tired boy rested. Well, the next morning she came back in and took him down to that same big old table full of food. And after he had ate, she took him up and set him in that split bottom rocker in front of that great big old fireplace, and she reached up and she took a Bible down. She looked up at him and she said, "Do you understand John 3:16? He said, "Well, no, ma'am, I don't. The first time I ever heard it was last night when that policeman told me to use it." Well, she opened that Bible up to John 3:16 and she began to explain to him about Jesus. And right there in front of that great big old fireplace, he gave his heart and his life to Jesus. And then he sat there and he thought, my, oh my, John 3:16. I sure don't understand it, but it sure does make a lost boy saved. Well, you know, I got to confess, I don't understand it either. How God could send his son to die for me, and how Jesus could agree to do such a thing. Oh, I don't understand it, but it sure did make this old lost boy saved.